Hi, and welcome back to another AI in 5. I'm your host, Simon Chris, and joining me today from Canberra is Dr. Alex Antic. Alex is an adjunct professor at a number of universities and is also the Deputy Director for the University of New South Wales AI Institute. And we're going to be talking about AI sovereignty. Hey, Alex, welcome to AI in 5. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, we're going to jump straight in because we've only got 5 minutes, and I want to talk about some breaking news the day that we recorded this, is that Denmark has just decided to toss Microsoft out the door and go for Linux-based solutions and other kind of things because of digital sovereignty. And I know that's a topic that's really close to your heart.
It sure is. It's very interesting to see how other nations are moving down this path and how they're investing in sovereign capability development. And it's a huge call by the Danes to move away from the big Microsoft and go down the path of open source. I think this question around should Australia go down the path of sovereign capability in a similar vein.
That's a great question, right?
I think that's something that's been very topical lately, and I've been having a lot of discussions with various folk about if you look at, increasing geopolitical uncertainty globally, what they may mean for us, which sometimes I think we feel like we're so far away that maybe that's not relevant for us. I think things have changed sufficiently enough lately that we need to very seriously consider about that. That avenue and what impact they may have on us.
I asked somebody the other day, I said to them, how unrealistic is it that, the US president suddenly realizes that his data centers are bearing the grunt of all of this AI and, there's a energy cost to that. And so he decides to slap a 50% tariff on anybody using US AI from outside of the USA. So everybody calling an OpenAI API or an Anthropic API suddenly finds themselves almost priced out of the market.
Exactly. So you've got the issue of limited control and autonomy over the data, the infrastructure you need to run models. You've got the issue of not being able to control the broader governance and assurance that runs over those systems. If it's developed elsewhere, you have any limited impact from a compliance perspective in your country. And in terms of if there's any political unrest or other issues in your region, if these models are shut off, access to data and infrastructure shut off at any moment, where does it leave you? I mean, we're dependent on other nations for data, for instance, for our, Bureau of Meteorology models. That's used in agriculture. It's used, for national security and other areas. So we're beholden to others. So we really need to think closely about what does it mean in the broader context of AI adoption, and why should we be investing in a sovereign capability? Broader than AI, obviously, it's digital. AI is only one part of the ecosystem.
Yeah. But when you say sovereignty, are you talking of software systems or of physical data centers with GPUs in them, or both?
Great question. I think if you talk about sovereignty in the complete sense, you need to think of the entire end-to-end pipeline and ecosystem that AI sits within. So that involves data, infrastructure, talent and workforce capability. You need to source sovereign data to develop models such as open source models that the Danes are going down the path of. Sitting on Australian housed and controlled data centers, and then having the governance and assurance and ethics that that basically protects those systems so they're used in a safe and responsible way. So I think it's the entire ecosystems that we need to consider when we speak of sovereign AI.
And how do we get that journey started? It can't just rest on the shoulders of government. What else could be being done?
Great point. I think government is obviously important in setting the tone and showing support. Broader than that, it's very much a collaborative task that falls upon the shoulders of government, the public and private sectors, startups, academia, of course. We all have to play together. We all have the same goals in mind, but I think really that collaborative aspect is key, and having the support of government is what makes it, I think, realistic and has to be done in a pragmatic way.
And do you think, often we don't get a lot of investment here in Australia because, market size wise, we're a pimple on the world's backside. and a lot of tech that I see developed here that's really great AI tech go offshore because they say, well, hang on, look at the size of these other addressable markets. How do we get around that here in Australia?
I think part of the issue with up to date, we had limited investment is uncertainty around our broader regulatory and compliance regimes. I think it's made a lot of companies a bit hesitant who want to invest. I think from a data center perspective, for instance, there is growing interest in all the favorable aspects to increasing development of data centers in this country.
Yeah.
I think once we bed down what does that look like from a reg perspective from government, that we'll see much more money flowing in. We've had recent input from AWS and there's others who are looking to invest heavily.
Yep.
And these are in billions of dollars, obviously they're huge sums of money. I think that's been part of the issue. And also if we can attract and retain talent here, I think that will help a lot with developing our own broader innovation ecosystem around AI and other tech.
Yeah.
We have great people here, great capabilities in academia and CSIRO and other places in startups. How do we hold them here? How do we incentivize them to stay? So.
Yeah, very true. Look, we're at time, and this could be a 2-hour discussion. I know it, but I want to ask you the same question I ask everyone that comes on the show, and that is, what would what would be your advice for somebody who's a company that's just starting their AI journey? What should they be thinking about or doing?
I think it's very important to have a broader data and AI strategy to clearly understand how and why you need it to deliver on your business goals. It's there as a tool to enable some sort of strategic outcome. I think having a clear understanding of what that is, and a part of that is really upskilling yourself and your workforce to understand what is and isn't AI, the different types of AI, could be generative or more traditional narrow-based models.
Yeah.
You really need to understand what it can do for you, when to use it and when not to use it, and what that broader strategy looks like. I think from there, then you can start looking at governance, assurance processes to make sure it's done in a safe and responsible way. And then you go from there to the actual tech. I think leave the tech last. Worry about the business problems and the people first.
There you go. Tech last. Absolutely agree. Alex, thanks for being on AI in 5.
Thank you.